Well folks, sorry it's taken a while for me to make this video. That's partially because I wanted to think over what's happened with the lore throughout the conclusion of Doom Eternal's DLC, and partially because it can be time consuming to take care of a new baby. In the end, I'm glad I waited because just last night, Hugo Martins finished up his live Doom Eternal base game playthrough. During that stream, he dropped some really helpful insights into the lore and hints at future story arcs that explore the wider Doom universe. As usual, this video will be spoiler heavy, as I not only want to talk about the Ancient Gods Part 2 lore, but speculation about future games. If you've missed my previous lore videos, my main purpose is to take a look at Doom lore from a Christian perspective. Obviously it's just a game and just fiction, but I like to explore the religious themes of fiction like this because it's hard for an artistic project like this to get made without the creators letting some of their worldview slip into their work, either intentionally or unintentionally. If I wasn't clear from my previous breakdown videos, it's obvious that the Doom universe and its versions of heaven and hell weren't written in a way that was intended to parallel the Christian view of the universe. It is a completely invented universe, made to couch the action story of the Slayer with unpredictable heroes and villains. Hugo clarified even further the place that traditional religions play in the Doom universe in his last stream.
So when she says that, she's talking about the humans, how the humans, through various forms of religion, kind of, worship her. They don't. She's kind of like a fictionalized, a character, obviously, but like, it's her belief that if they're not around to help, all of existence, and grace them with their holy presence, that there will be chaos that would ensue.
While it's stupidly obvious that Hugo and the Doom Eternal writers don't believe in the fictional world they created, it is a common belief outside of Christianity that all religions are just weak attempts at understanding the world beyond our own, whether it be spiritual or physical. Was this a skepticism the Doom writers shared as a starting point for their fiction? We can only speculate without asking the writers directly, and I doubt they all share the same beliefs. But it wouldn't surprise me if something like this inspired some of the writing. Obviously, the question for me isn't whether the writers are positing some kind of counter-spirituality to Christianity for their fanbase to believe, but whether any of their meta-themes are meant to comment on real-life belief systems like many forms of fiction do, as cartoonish and absurd as the tone of Doom can be. I gave my thoughts on the possible themes that Doom Eternal and DLC 1 touched on in my last couple analysis videos, so I'll link to those in the description to avoid repetition. What was fascinating about the Ancient Gods Part 2, as many of you likely know by now, is the revelation that the Book of the Seraphs, one of the main sources in my last video, was tainted by the deception of the in-game characters that wrote it. It is a false history. While many of the details regarding the history of Argentineur, the Sentinels, and other stories remained largely unchanged, the reality of the Dark Lord and the Father was exactly reversed. The Dark Lord was actually the creator, and when he fell, the Father rose in his place.
For too long have I been imprisoned by my own creations. You will not stop my vengeance, nor the one who betrayed me. Tell him.
He is the first being, and my creator. When he fell, I ascended.
They lied to you, Slayer. Imora and its people would have been perfect, if not for the treachery of my servants.
Through his disembodied influence, the Dark Lord led Samur to turn the Doom Guy into the Doomslayer to overthrow the Makers out of vengeance, but he knew this would risk the Doomslayer coming after him next, which is exactly what happened. In all honesty, since the Book of the Seraphs was written by in-game characters and not some overarching, infallible game narrator, the possibility of false history as a plot twist mechanic did exist in the back of my mind, though I didn't say so. Even if it was going to happen, I didn't know where. Some have seen this sort of retconning of the base game and DLC 1 lore as bad writing. They would speculate that the writers changed their minds midway through. We can't know for sure without talking to the writers, but I'm more inclined to think that the end result was largely planned from the start. Obviously, this raises massive questions about my Ancient Gods Part 1 analysis. Much of that video was spent looking over the attributes of the Father in comparison to traditional Christian ideas of God. Doom's the Father being very finite and human in his attributes in comparison to the Christian God. But what do we do with the fact that we now know in the Doom universe, the Creator and Satan are basically one and the same? Should a Christian take this fiction as some kind of middle finger to their ideas of God? Or is it pure fiction, nothing to be taken personally? There were really only 3 interpretations I was able to think of in this regard when I finished DLC 2. Perhaps there is some kind of self-conscious middle finger being given to traditional beliefs about God, and perhaps this would indeed require Christians to examine whether they should have positive feelings toward the Doom franchise or not. Another interpretation is that Christians could simply look at the franchise as pure fiction and give the writers the benefit of the doubt. The subversion of the Father-Dark Lord dynamic was a clever plot twist for the sake of drama. No deeper meaning behind it. However, the third option that popped into my head was that, regardless of the relationship between the Father and the Dark Lord, perhaps there is an even greater reality above them, and there is a true God of the Doom universe yet to be revealed. I found this unlikely since I felt this sort of plot twist had been played out when it turned out there was a God above the Father. However, this thinking changed when watching Hugo Martins' final base game livestream.
This is a lore question for Hugo. Okay, after the reveal from the Ancient Gods Part 2, spoiler, we know that Hell is an extension of the Dark Lord. So, why does the Dark Lord end Hell? Why are they trying to kill Doom Guy since the classic games, if he needed him to destroy Urdak? Why entomb him, and why does Doom Guy look like the Dark Lord? That's like 5 questions, but you can answer any one of those you feel
I
like.
answered this on McVicker's thing, so I don't want to spoil it.
That's fair.
But it'll take me... Were you were yeah,
I was there,
that
yeah.
answer took like 20 minutes. It's not a plot hole. I mean, like, keep this in mind. The Dark Lord didn't make the Doom Slayer the Doom Guy. He made the Doom Slayer. The fact that Doom Guy and the Dark Lord look alike, it says in the old codex. Now this is uber spoilers. Turn it off if you don't want to hear this stuff. Obviously everybody who's tuning in heard this.
It
says only a primeval. It describes Devoth as a primeval, and that only a primeval or something stronger could kill a primeval. So what's a primeval, and who makes primevals? That's the mysterious question I will not answer, because the Doom universe is vast. And Mysterious Voice is back to know.
Right. That's what we were talking about earlier, yeah?
Yeah, someone greater than or a step beyond Devoth. And the Maker, like, who's to say that voice is evil or good, or, you know, who they are.
I have yet to hear this podcast Hugo mentioned, and perhaps it will give me further thoughts. But even with only these statements, we can see that the Doom universe is much bigger than we originally thought. There are now several things we don't know. What exactly are these primevals? Are they gods of some kind, or is there only one true god above them? If I had to speculate, I would guess that the primevals are basically warring beings overseeing the world with competing goals. The Doomslayer and the Dark Lord are competing outcomes of those goals. Are the primevals as high as it gets in terms of beings, or is there one true god even above them? Time will tell, though Hugo Martins seems favorable to the idea of only one.
Is Devoth Lucifer, and is there a true god we haven't seen since Vega isn't the Father? That's 2 questions.
Yes, I believe so. That's super spoilery.
Yeah.
But since we're doing the stream,
Yep.
yes.
There you have it.
Will this being be good or evil in the Doom universe, or will the Doomslayer have to dethrone him as well? Time will tell. In the end, I continue to enjoy this franchise, and given the direction of the writing, I'm less and less inclined to take any of it as negative or positive commentary on my faith. I wouldn't be surprised to find out I largely don't share the worldview of the writing team, but I definitely appreciate their talent for writing fiction.